My daughter made me cry for the first time in my life. I, 28 female, have a 13-year-old daughter. I had her when I was 15 after I was raped by someone who I thought was my friend. My daughter doesn't know this and I decided not to tell her. Keep it in mind. Well, I also have a sister, 35 female. She's honestly the best sister I could ever ask for. Now for an explanation. I was picking my daughter up from school and she seemed like she was in a bad mood, so I wanted to do something that would cheer her up. I asked her if she wanted to go to the mall or go out to the Chinese restaurant she loves. She told me no because my sister had promised to take her to the movies, so I told her I'd drive her to the movies. She then told me no again and to drop her off at my sister's house, so I agreed. 3 hours later, she came home and was happier now. I asked if the movies were fun, but she just ignored me and went to her room instead. I thought this was weird because she normally always tells me how fun the movies are or whenever she goes somewhere with my sister. So I called her down for dinner and she came down and walked right past me to grab her jacket and shoes. Obviously confused, I asked her where she was going. She said she was going to get Mexican food with my sister. I told her I had already made dinner and she got mad at me and told me to leave her alone because she didn't want to eat something a dirty slut made. I asked her what she meant by that, and she said I was gross for losing my virginity at such a young age and that she was grossed out even looking at me. She called me a disgusting whore and slammed the door and left. This honestly broke my heart since I had gone to therapy for so long and to try and cope with what happened. But as a result, my own daughter basically slut-shamed me for having my innocence taken away. I honestly just lost my appetite and just went to my room. I have been crying ever since and my heart honestly just completely feels sad. I think my sister told her because I planned on telling her until she was older. I feel betrayed and hurt and don't know what to do. She knocked on my room door but I didn't open it. I mean, how do I even approach this?
Am I the asshole for making my parents choose between my sister going to jail or replacing my car with their vacation money? This posted by Spirited Boat 6380. I, female 17, live with my parents. I have an older sister 29 that they had when they were super young. Like I think my mom was 19 and my dad was 18. They did not do a great job with her and she has a lot of problems. She is chronically unemployed and she is a thief. She has 2 kids that are okay. They live with us as well because her boyfriend didn't want them around. I like the kids, but they are spoiled little brats my parents dote on to make up for being shitty parents to their mom. Wow, OP is just cutting straight to the point here. My parents won't let me put a lock on my door because it is their house and they don't want that. No problem. I talked to the kids and explained about what would happen if they came into my room without permission. We have an understanding. Well, my sister broke up with her boyfriend and she needed a place to stay. I begged my parents not to let her stay with us. They declined, so I begged again for a lock on my door. No dice. I have to go to school, so I can't guard my stuff at all times. When I came home on Friday, I found my car absolutely trashed and the side of it destroyed. My sister had gone into my room, found my spare key, and taken my car. Then lost control on the ice after a day of eating crap and tossing fast food wrappers everywhere. She sideswiped a tree. When I saw my car, I was livid. I told my parents that I expected her to pay to fix it. They said she didn't have any money, so I said that I would call my grandparents. They had helped me get the car and insurance. After talking with my grandfather, I came back to talk to my parents. I said that the insurance would cover fixing or replacing my car depending on the damage, but that I would have to file a police report, and that my sister would probably be charged for stealing my car. They begged me to tell insurance that she had permission. I said nope. So rather than go through insurance, they are replacing my car. But they are using money that they had set aside to take me and my nieces to Orlando next summer for my graduation. It's fine. I can do without seeing Disney World again. But my parents, sister, and nieces are upset with me, saying that I'm an asshole for denying my nieces the opportunity to go on vacation that they never had. I just asked them if a lock for my door would have been cheaper. Am I the asshole? Edit! Hey, I just got home from school. There's a deadbolt on my bedroom door, and my mom gave me the key. She says that she is keeping the other one for emergency. I agreed as long as it was only for emergencies. Well, at least there's that.
My husband, who has been parenting my daughter for 10 years, doesn't want to adopt her after she asked him to be her dad for real, and I don't know what to do about our marriage. I had a child when I was 16, and I'm not with her father, and quite honestly, I don't know where he is. He wanted nothing to do with my daughter. When she was 6, I met my current husband. He promised me he would love her and treat her like his own, and he seems like he has. We have more kids together, and it was her 16th birthday last week, and she told me she wanted her stepdad to adopt her. I thought this was a great idea, and he's always been her dad anyways. He said yes, and there were a lot of happy tears, and my younger kids were happy. It was one of the happiest moments of my life. That night, he told me he wanted to talk. He told me that he did love her, but not the same, and he felt a bit weird adopting her because he felt like it would be a disservice to her to have a dad who didn't love her like his other kids. He told me that he wanted to talk to her about it and say that she could definitely take his last name if she wanted to, but he couldn't adopt her and that he felt bad about it. But it wouldn't be fair to anyone. He said he knows we are a package deal and would always treat her well and like a part of the family, but he couldn't be her dad. He told me he was sorry and he felt guilty and that he would take care of it and I didn't have to. My heart never hurt more in that moment, and I genuinely feel like I failed my daughter. I told him I didn't want him to speak to her about it, and that if he doesn't think of her as his kid, then it is my job as a parent to take care of her. I don't know what to do. Do I ask for a divorce? I felt sick, dizzy, and numb all week. How do I tell my daughter? He's helped raise her and shared the best and worst moments with her, and I don't know what to do about our marriage. Everyone was helpful, and I know a lot of people told me divorce, but I'm gonna try to fix things first. I don't want my oldest to feel like it's all her fault, younger kids to resent her, and I'm scared he won't want to see her anymore. We're going to marriage counseling. I'm looking for a therapist for my daughter. I let my husband talk to her because I felt like I should give them that and trust that he won't be stupid. They went on a drive. I don't know what was said exactly, but they're both upset, and I'm going to use fake names to make it easier. My daughter stopped calling my husband Dad and calls him Mike now, if she even speaks or looks at him. He seems upset by it, but I don't know what to tell him. Isn't that what he wanted? My girl has been very quiet and tired, and I told her to stay home from school for a few days, but she didn't want to. My other daughter asked us, why is Hannah calling Daddy Mike? Is he not her daddy anymore? Does that mean she isn't my sister? I corrected her, and my husband looked horrified, but once again, didn't know what to say to him. I've been calling her your sister instead of Hannah when I talk about her, and I hope it helps. Once again, thank you. I'm exhausted as a mom and a wife, but I am the glue right now, and I am doing my best to make my marriage work and be a good mom. Edit. Something scary happened. I had to work late, but I didn't have a choice. She didn't come home and we were both terrified, and she's been looking for her birth dad. Turns out he overdosed years ago, and she was devastated all over again. My husband hates her calling him Mike.
I want to talk about Gen Z. I've been seeing a ton of negative content about this generation lately. And being someone who spends a lot of time with the 18 and under crowd, I have some thoughts. Sometimes I feel like I almost have a backstage pass with kids. Even though technically I'm an authority figure, I'm almost never regarded as such. Kids usually regard me as a friend and an equal. And because of that, I get to see them with their guards down, just being kids in their natural habitat. The most common complaint that I see is that Gen Z has no respect for their elders. And this I definitely have some thoughts on. Now, I'm a Gen X mom. I'm 41 years old, and we were taught that you respect your elders no matter what. They're the adult, and you're the child, and that was that. But Gen Z, they don't operate like that, and I am so here for it. They truly do not care how old you are. If you want Gen Z's respect, you need to earn it. Now, I'm not talking about manners. Those should always be awarded. But past initial pleasantries, if an adult is being blatantly disrespectful, I see no reason why a child should have to go above and beyond to show respect to that adult. Now, don't get me wrong. Gen Z is not perfect, but kids not letting adults intimidate them and bully them into silence is a huge step forward in combating child abuse. Abusers thrive on control and the illusion of respect and keeping a child silent. Today's kids are just not buying into that as easily as past generations. And looking at the big picture, I can't say that it's a bad thing.
Did anybody else's ex-boyfriends introduce them to their husbands? Because mine did. I am 17 years old. The year is 2013, and it is right before I start my senior year of high school, very beginning of August. Okay, I get a text from my ex-boyfriend early in the morning, or early in the day, and he's like, hey, do you want to hang out today? Sure, I guess. He comes, he picks me up, and everything really throughout the day goes off without a hitch. Like, nothing weird. Like, I went and saw his family. Totally cool. Later on in the day, he's like, hey, I actually have rehearsal tonight at the college. Do you want to come with me and come, say hi to everybody in the cast and all the directors and stuff? It is important to note that I was a theater kid in high school, obviously. And the junior college where I went to school also kind of was a community theater. So you did not have to be a student there to audition for shows. So I had been doing shows there since I was like early in middle school. Okay, so I knew a lot of people that were up there. I knew a lot of the students. I knew all the directors. And I was like, yeah, cool. I'll come say hi. It'll be a great time. We go up to the school, I walk into the building, this little black box theater area, and everybody's coming up to me. Oh my God, Leslie, I felt like a fucking celebrity, paparazzi, coming out across the thing to say, come say hi to little old me. Directors are saying hi, giving me hugs, how you doing? And from across the room, I see this man. And boy, was he handsome. We make eye contact and it is intense and prolonged, okay? A mutual friend of ours comes up, introduces us. We shake hands. And again, that eye contact is lingering. Hi, I'm Leslie. Hi, I'm Cody. It's nice to meet you. We split ways and did not speak for the rest of the night. But when I tell you the tension in that room was palpable, you could cut it with a knife, buddy, okay? I'm sitting there in my little chair watching rehearsals go on. It's really cute, really fun, watching this little play go on. And one of the directors comes out to me and is like, Leslie, we actually just lost a cast member tonight. Like, they call, like, they're not in the show anymore. They can't do it. We open in a couple weeks. Do you want to fill in, like, on this little side character? I was like a card girl. I held cards. It was an interactive show. It was a whole thing. Irrelevant. I was like, yeah, let me call my mom and see, like, if I can do it. Fast forward, call my mother. And she's like, yeah, I don't fucking care. Do the show. Great. Now I'm in the cast. So I hop up. I start doing finishing the rehearsals with everybody else. Again, me and Cody had not spoken to each other at all this night. Just a lot of eye contact. I don't know. Before the night is up, a friend of mine his name is Ryan. Bless you, sweet man. He comes up to me. He's like, hey, I didn't even talk to him, but I need you to just do us and everybody a favor. And I need you to put your phone number down right here for Cody. Because he is, y'all got something going on. There's something going on and I just need you to do that for me, will ya? Obviously, I give it to him. Cody texts me later on the night after this ex-boyfriend had dropped me off. I start stalking him. We start texting. He picked me up for rehearsal the next day, and the rest is history.
A few weeks ago, I was walking out of a store, and I hear, hey, is that your dog? And I looked over, and there was this cute little dog with no leash just walking around. And I was like, no. And they were like, oh, okay. And they drove away. And I was like, what? And there was just this dog. And so I just started following the dog. I turned the corner, and the dog's just walking for a few blocks with, like, no destination. And so I decided to block the dog from the street. And I'm standing in front of this dog. I'm looking at the dog. The dog is looking back at me. And then this guy sprints over and picks up the dog. And he's like, oh, I know whose dog this is. And the dog tries to bite him. And then he puts the dog back down. And he picks him up again. And he's like, no, for real. And then the dog tries to bite him again, puts him back down. And I said, this is my dog. I lied. And then the guy ran away. And I think he tried to steal the dog because I looked down and I looked at the collar and it had a phone number. And so I called the phone number. And then this guy picks up and he's like, hey, you coming to the party? And I was like, no, I actually found this phone number on a dog. And he's like, Ollie! Ollie! And he just starts running and I hear, where are you? Where are you? And I was like, oh, okay, I'm off this corner. And I just like named the two streets. And he's like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm really close to that. And he's like, you have the dog right now? And I'm looking down at this dog, unbothered. The most unbothered dog. Didn't bark once. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just staring down at Ollie, I guess. And so he runs over to me. He's like, what are you wearing? What are you wearing? And I'm just like, just a white sweater. And he's like, okay. And he sees me and he comes over, he puts the phone down and he like daps me up and he's like, oh my God, thank you, man. Thank you. I'm like hosting this party right now. I had no idea he even left. And I was like, no, truly, no worries. Like I was just going to get a tall boy of Modelo. Like truly, it's so fine. And he was like, no, for real. Like this really means the world. And he was like, do you have any dogs at home? And I was like, I do have a dog at home. And to be honest, like I lost a dog a couple months ago. I even just got a tattoo of that dog. And he was like, well, thank you, man, truly. Like, well, listen, I actually own the building over there and it's a speakeasy. And he was like, it's invite only. It's always free drinks. We have live music. Would love to have you anytime you're on our invite list. And he was like, I have your number because he called me, right? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, thank you so much. He like picked up Ollie and he went back to the party. And I was like, and I was like, what? I was like, if he made that up, that was such a bizarre thing to make up. And then he texts me, hey brother, thanks so much for getting my dog back to me. Would have been devastated. Please check out the thing sometime. You'll love it. It's always free. And I was like, yeah, of course. Like truly, they're the best. One of the weirdest things that ever happened to me. So I'm gonna go to Speakeasy probably soon. So that's incredible.
I've never shared this story before out of respect for my friend, but now that I've been proven right, it's okay, I think. So we've all heard the news about Andrew Tate. Thank God he's finally been arrested. So about a month ago, we had Friendsgiving, and my friend's boyfriend, who had been with her for like a month or two, was there, and I didn't really know him well. He said something about football gives you brain damage, but it teaches you to not be a beta. And I laughed, and I said, oh, so you're an alpha male? Okay, Andrew Tate. Like, that's funny. It's a joke, dude. It's like, laugh like it's funny. I mean, at least I think it's funny, but like, it was meant to be a joke, dude. Like, okay, whatever. And he goes, Andrew Tate's a pretty cool guy. And I was like, sorry? What? And so at this point I'm yelling because no, the fuck you didn't just say that. First of all, I'm not going to let anyone just say that. But also, you're dating my friend. I'm not going to let someone who's dating my friend be a misogynist because she deserves better. So I'm like, Andrew Tate is a sex trafficker. And he goes, no, he's not. Rolls his eyes and starts that, like, you know, that mansplaining tone. All girls know exactly what I'm talking about. Kicks into that and he's like, no, he's not. And I was like, okay, yeah, he is. Like, I don't know if, like, this wasn't as big of news, but he had been raided before and arrested, but then out on bail because they didn't have enough evidence. They were building a case at that point. And it was more so like investigating. And I said that and he goes, he was swatted. It happens to Twitch streamers and stuff all the time. Which, first of all, that's not the same thing at all. And I said, who told you that? Andrew Tate? So according to the news now, they've been building this case since about April, which I was aware of. I didn't know the exact timeline, but like a lot of people that are fans of him know all the shit that he's been saying. And girls that have just seen clips might not know as much. But let me break this down. He has actively on the internet bragged about being a sex trafficker. He says that his cam girls are his girls. He owns them. He doesn't say own, but he says they're my girls. I keep all their money. And he's openly bragged about, and tried to teach people how to manipulate the women into falling for you and then working for your cam business. He's so open about this. It's not surprising whatsoever. He's bragged about it constantly, that he manipulates women into falling for him and then being cam girls and then he keeps all their money because they're his women. He's also talked about why he moved to Romania, and one of the main reasons is that the rape laws are more laxed. He also said it's easier to buy off the cops, so do with that information what you will. In my opinion, anyone, specifically guys, that says that they like Andrew Tate means that they've heard this information. This is stuff he talks about a lot. This is not secretive. And they're okay with it, and they're okay with supporting it and supporting him. So any guy who says that he likes Andrew Tate, you need to be even more concerned than you might have been before, because a lot of people just thought he was simply a misogynist. No, it's much worse.
My husband posted my body online. Last Friday I, 34F, spent my evening with, obligatory fake name, Tate, a young friend, 24F, from work as she wanted to discuss something personal with me. I didn't think anything of it as we do have a very personal relationship outside of work as well. As soon as I arrived to replace the tension in the air was thick. She explained that she wanted to discuss a serious matter with me but that she didn't know how to go about it. I told her to just rip the band-aid off and tell me. She told me that she had found 2 recordings of a woman she believed to be me on a pornographic website. I told her that wouldn't be possible, but she was adamant that I was the woman in the recording. And she was right. I've never recorded myself naked or having sex with my husband, but there I was in 2 recordings of 7 minutes and 4 minutes, both of them recorded in our old bedroom. As I rewatched every second of it, it starts to dawn on me that this was my husband's doing. But I pushed that deep down because there must be a reasonable explanation for this. Honestly, I left her place with my mind in a complete meltdown. I could barely hear what she was saying, but she did follow up with a text saying she's been in contact with the website about getting it taken down and that she'll help me go through this. She also said she's scouring the internet in case there are more out there. I came home and pretty much ransacked my house looking for evidence, and I found it. My husband was using a hidden spy cameras to spy on me and record me in my most intimate moments. I then just spent hours vomiting, crying, projectile vomiting some more and begging God to just let this be a nightmare. I am a deeply religious and a fully veiled Muslim woman, and I've never been with anyone but my husband, and all this time he has been sharing my most intimate moments with the world. I don't know what to think or what to do. I can't look at him or speak to him. I've locked myself in our bedroom pretending I have COVID. All I do is look up how other people have dealt with getting things removed, and it seems like once it's on the internet it really is forever, even if I remove it from this one website. I've been crying non-stop. He truly must be something demonic, as he is right now talking about ordering in some of my favorites to see if I have an appetite since I haven't been eating well. I am so unbelievably hurt. I don't know how to share this with my family, how to ask for help. I am crippled with shame, anger, and pain. Answering some questions. 1. My husband, soon to be ex-husband, and I are the same religion, race, ethnicity, and nationality. 2. My culture does not participate in honor killings, and I'm not afraid of my family harming me or not siding with me. 3. My family would support me in divorcing him, in fact they would demand I do. For the laws in my country are secular, but in certain circumstances it allows for the various religious groups in the country to hold their own courts that can enforce their rulings, as long as it doesn't impose or break secular law or civil liberties. 5. I do plan on taking this to secular court and religious court as I want him punished. 6. I am veiled by choice, and the vast majority of my fellow countrywomen do not veil. 7. I am a niqabi, meaning the only part of me visible to the public are my eyes. When I am with my family or with other women/in women-only spaces I don't veil. 8. Kate and I do not share the same religion nor dress alike, and yet we are friends. Tell surprise. Update on my previous post: my husband posted my body online. I left him as I said I would. He went to work. The movers arrived, we packed my stuff and we left. The entire time I was crying to the point that even the movers were worried for me, but I couldn't stop myself from crying. I went home, sat my parents and siblings down, and explained the situation. My parents were and still are confused. They are elderly and fragile. They don't understand the internet. They just keep saying, okay, let's talk to the people and it will be gone. But my siblings understand. They are angry. They are sad and heartbroken on my behalf. My siblings and brother-in-laws took me home. We waited for him and we had a conversation with him. He denied it at first. So my brothers were firm with him and he started to be more truthful. He said he did it because he was depressed, because he had a porn addiction, sex addiction, and because he didn't think anyone would see it. He said he posted only a few. When we asked him to be specific, he said he posted anything from 5 to 8. We had him take it down, but who knows how many times it has been downloaded or shared. In that moment I also found out he had a secret phone. He was also cheating on me with random women and sex workers. All this time I was thinking he's working hard, but nope, he was out disgracing himself and betraying our marriage. At some point he convinced us he needed to use the bathroom and he somehow managed to call his mother, who arrived at our home with his brother and cousins. There was a commotion as they were angry at the treatment of their family member. Then things calmed down enough to explain to them what he had done. His mother fainted. His mother is elderly and not in the greatest health condition. We called for an ambulance. My neighbor had also called the police and I was arrested by the time the ambulance arrived to take care of my mother-in-law. I spent the evening locked up. Didn't exactly have polite conversation with him. So yes, I was arrested for assaulting him, specifically slapping him, and he refused to press charges. Got released the next morning and went home to my parents. Cried some more because my parents kept crying. Then a few days later I spoke to some lawyers my sister had contacted as they had experience with non-consensual material being posted online. They have been handling things with the police as I did press charges and they are dealing with the websites. I also have started the process of divorce. I went to the clinic and got tested and luckily he didn't give me anything so far, but I have another test scheduled just to make sure. I have spoken to his mother and she apologized to me even though it's not her fault. She told me that she understood why I want him punished. She asked that I let it stay in the hands of the law rather than I hurt him or have him hurt. He's in hiding but he still calls and texts me from random numbers. He still lies and tries to manipulate me. I've just been documenting everything he says and texts to me. Oh, at this point everyone knows. I mean everyone, even little kids. And I feel more humiliated now than I did at first. My husband posted my body online. The more I know, the more I just want the earth to swallow me up. 3rd update. This man has destroyed everything I have worked for and has completely destroyed the very little sense of stability and safety I had left. I had to resign from my job. A job that I loved. Jobs don't come easy for me with the way that I look. I can't work there anymore because I am a potential danger to the children and staff. Since perverted men have started to harass me at work. I work with vulnerable children and mothers who have heard about me have started to refuse me working with their children. Some don't want me to be involved with their child because their husbands can't stop being weird. Fathers have leered at me or made lewd comments toward me and one of them even offered me money to sleep with him. Men have catcalled me with greater frequency than ever before. Men stare at me. A man followed me from my dentist office and groped me on the street. Random men call my phone, my family home and office to verbally abuse me because my husband has posted my address, my personal and work email, phone numbers, workplace address and every other bit of information online. It is as if the eyes and judgment of the entire world is on me. Yes, the great majority of people are sympathetic, kind and in support of me. Many people have reached out in support of me, from old classmates to former colleagues, neighbors, members of my religious community, family friends, his family and many more have expressed solidarity and kindness, but the crazies and perverts who believe him and are like him, are bolder, louder and much more noticeable. Then I find out from my lawyers and their investigators that he was drugging me and assaulting me as I slept. I suffer from migraines and insomnia and take medication for it. He saw my medication as opportunity to drug me with my own prescriptions. He shared, was actually bragging, on a forum where other perverts congregate how he was so clever for drugging me with my own medication and they were encouraging him to do more things to me. Soon-to-be ex-husband has also decided to spread rumors that I was aware of the cameras and pressured him into posting online, and there are people who believe him. He also changed his mind about not pressing charges. I went to court. The judge and prosecutors were sympathetic and dismissed the case. It was a combination of my lawyers explaining the circumstances that led to me slapping him and his subsequent actions, threatening me, attacking me, doxing me, and blackmailing me by saying he didn't care about the slap and that he would drop everything if I forgave him. My lawyers used his own words against him since he wrote it in text, and on a recorded call he admitted to me not having slapped him that hard and that he only pressed charges to cause me harm. But his crimes against me are still being investigated by the prosecutors.
I was brought up by family vloggers and it ruined my life. I, 17 female, was brought up by parents who family vlogged. They started vlogging when I was around 7 and stopped 3 years ago. I want to hugely avoid speculation as to who my family is, so I won't be sharing much more detail. The channel had over 500,000 subscribers. My parents finally stopped when there was a mental health crisis in my family as a result of the channel. This was never shared online. If you are a family vlogger or considering it, please read this and consider my perspective. I've wanted to share for a while but didn't know how to. I loved it for a while. I loved being center of attention while the camera was on, and I loved getting more toys. I stopped loving it when I realized the only time I got attention was when the camera was on, and the only time I got toys was when I performed in a way I was meant to. I'm going to list some stuff that happened and how it affected us. My siblings and I were so paranoid there was a camera on us that the only place we felt comfortable changing was in the bathroom with the lights off. I couldn't talk to my mom about anything when my mental health began to get bad because I was too scared she would share it online. If I had asked her not to do it, it wouldn't have made a difference. I now barely have a relationship with my mom. My mom considered homeschooling us so that she'd have more time to make content during the day. My best friend's mom said that she didn't want my friend to be my friend anymore because my mom kept filming her without permission. My mom didn't care how upset I was. I didn't have a single private moment. My mom woke me up with the camera on, and she often filmed right until we went to sleep. She filmed us in the bath, and although she tried to get it off the internet, it's downloaded and online forever. She shared when I got my period, even though I told her I didn't want her to. Someone attempted to kidnap my sister and found it easy because they knew her full name, address, school, and details about her. My sister didn't know he was a stranger because he knew so much about her. And there's obviously a lot more.
I didn't expect anyone to enjoy my customer service story as much as they did, so here's another one. This is 17-year-old Chanel versus the racist chicken snatcher. I'm 17 working at KFC. I was a full-time student working full-time hours because I wanted to take bank to university with me, which was pretty hard considering an hour's wage was less than a piece of chicken, but we moved. So I'm on shift with this girl, Kamodi, absolute sweetheart. She really took me under her wing. She was like my chicken mama. Anyway, she's from Sri Lanka, but her English is really good. Yes, she has an accent, but as a single lingual, I'm in awe of anyone who can speak multiple languages. So I'm in the back sorting some chicken and I hear a kerfuffle from the front of the store. I finish what I'm doing and I go to the front, at which time Kamodi comes around and she is in full-blown tears. Through her tears, Kamodi says to me, Chanel, can you serve this customer, please? She's screaming at me because she can't understand my accent and she wants to speak to someone who was born here. So I was like, okay, my darling, you go to the back, I will sort this out. So I go to the front. Before a word has left my mouth, this woman's like, what part of speaking to an English person don't you lot understand? I was probably even more sarcastic at 17 than I am now, so I went, oh, I think I see where the confusion has stemmed from. No, what you mean is you want to speak to a white person. Let me locate one. So I go to the back, I explain the situation to Roman, who's Eastern European. I ask if he will serve this customer, and he's like, yes. He goes to the front, he dials his accent up to 11. This woman's fuming. Meanwhile, I'm doing my best Julie Andrews while I'm serving customers next door. Oh yes, and what was it you'd like with your zinger burger? Chicken wings, fantastic. In the end, she dashed my customer's chicken on the floor, walked out screaming how she would never come back again. And we all stood there, customers included, going, oh no, we're so upset. There's nothing wrong with saying, I don't quite understand your accent, could you slow down a bit? Or even requesting to talk to somebody else, but do it politely. There was absolutely no need to shout at Kamodi that way to make her cry, and after that incident, she was really self-conscious about her English despite it being really good. To give her some confidence for dealing with customers again, she asked me if I would help her with her English, and so we started a little game called Word of the Day. Every day I would bring in a new word to add to her vocabulary, and everyone on the team had to put that word into a sentence. Really have my boss out here like, I do not believe it, you are pulling my leg, nincompoop is not a word. You are in for a treat, Raj, because discombobulated is next. In the end, I had to quit because I was going to university, and also because no matter how many showers I had, I always smelled of chicken, and sometimes I would wake up and my cats were trying to eat me and I didn't want to die.